Welcome to another episode of Cup of Joe. Today we have Kate Samler, owner and operator of Vantage Point Senior Living. Kate, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very special to be able to join you on Cup of Joe.
Awesome. You're our very first virtual guest that we've had, so I'm very excited to have you here. The very first question that I have for you here, Kate, is as an owner-operator, what are the major challenges that you're facing right now in the industry?
So as an owner-operator, I think the major challenges we're facing, it's really multifaceted in terms of meeting the demands of where our clients are coming from and what they need, coupled with meeting the demands of what our team members need when they're looking for employment and wanting them to stay with us long term. I think number one right now that we're really talking about in a lot of our operations meetings is how do we retain and attract top talent? So really getting granular with the community teams, and it's unique to every community, region, location. There's some unique facets of what employees are looking for, but then there's also some global things. So as a company, we really work collaboratively with every community to work to create employment packages that are really as attractive as possible for new team members who are coming on board with us.
That's awesome. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think one of the ones that I'm most excited about is offering benefits on day one. That's something that we're really seeing kind of post-pandemic is we're pushing rates as hard as we can for rents that we're able to get from residents, but we're also pushing our wages as high as we can to be able to attract and retain the top talent. So wages coupled with benefits on day one has really proven to be successful in bringing those top candidates to us and keeping them with us long term.
Okay, very cool. So Kate, you were mentioning recruitment and how that's a major component for you. What are you doing right now to make sure that you're getting the absolute best recruits that you can possibly be getting?
So in order to get the best recruits that we can, we're really talking at the community level with the managers about who are the top performing people in the communities and what are they looking for. You know, we can't just, it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray, and it's really all about creating packages that people really want. We can't assume at a corporate level what our line staff are really going to want. So we rely heavily on our community managers and operations teams to help tell us what that is. So creating great job descriptions, creating great job postings, casting that net out as far as we can, not just getting it on our website, but also boosting the exposure of it on social media, Indeed, all of the platforms that we can to really pull people to that posting, make that posting as attractive as we can. And we find that has really helped bring in people who are excited about working with us because they see that we're approaching it differently.
Amazing. And that's one thing I love about Vantage Point is the fact that you guys are you're attracting all of this amazing talent. What types of industries are these people generally coming through from? Do you see specifics, or is it kind of all over the place?
I think it's all over the place, and it's really unique. Actually, the community that I'm at today, the Lodge at Truett Homestead, is located in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So it's a coastal resort town. I'm here on a holiday weekend when it's about to get hugely busy, but what we're attracting from at the Lodge at Truett Homestead is a lot of hospitality professionals who may work in the restaurants in the busy season. Then in the off season, they're really looking for something reliable, a strong hourly rate with strong benefits, and that's what's attracting them to kind of jump ship from that hospitality, the hotel restaurant industry, and come to work with us.
Awesome. So if you were chatting with a new owner operator, what kind of guidance would you be able to give them?
As a new owner operator, I think that it's hugely important to listen to your communities. You don't make decisions in a vacuum at a corporate level, and I think that's something that especially if you're in a really fast-paced lease-up startup phase, you can lose sight of really quickly. And the ability to slow down, adapt to what your community management is saying, but also what your community line staff are saying is really what's going to help propel you to success in the future. Because with every community that you get involved with, whether it's a brand new community or a new management contract, you take something that you learn from each experience and then you build it. We're in a really rapid phase of growth. This time next year, we'll have opened 5 communities in about 4 years. So we are
Wow.
truly in a really rapid phase of growth, and being able to stop, almost debrief after every opening and say, what can we learn from this? What do we do well? But also, where did we fall on our faces? Being able to admit when you make those mistakes, adapting, and being able to use that to influence change in the future helps every new community that you get involved with in the future, and then ultimately benefits those that you've opened previously.
Very, very cool. So your organization is a family-run organization, is that correct? Awesome. So do you see that gives you additional benefits, or do you feel like that are there other benefits of maybe not having a family-run organization? What do you see from that perspective?
That's a really good question, and I think I'm a little biased because it's actually my parents, Rita and Greg, founded the company way back in 1995. Even before that, they were getting involved in skilled nursing, and we're really at the forefront of when the skilled nursing industry really started to identify the need for communities like assisted living, then independent living, and now these larger scale full service retirement communities. I grew up in the business. And so I think that
Yeah.
gives me a really interesting perspective of being somebody who worked in the dining room at 10 years old, kind of earning my weekly chore money, all the way up through today, being a VP of corporate operations. It gives you a really interesting insight. But aside from just me having that experience, we as a smaller family run company, our culture and values are so strong and are able to translate into our communities so strongly that we have a really great longevity with our management teams. And I think
Yeah.
above and beyond anything else that just us at the corporate level saying we're family owned and operated, it's all about the strength of the management team. And what we found is those people who are boots on the ground in the communities, when we're able to have that longevity and that influence, people who can influence our corporate culture at the community level, it really creates strong environments for people, regardless of their work discipline, whether they're part-time, full-time, nursing, housekeeping, management. I think that influence really creates a strength in the community team.
Absolutely. One thing I love about your team is from the members that I've met, they were all very, very motivated for the success of Vantage Point, and it almost seems as if they are kind of treated as family, which I know everyone says, "Oh, that's my work family," and that's like kind of a key thing. But it seems to me that you have a very, very strong culture. And my question for you then is, how did you develop that? Obviously, with you being a member of the family that's helped with Vantage Point and everything like that, and the success, how are you making sure that your culture maintains throughout the years?
I think that the big word that I can really think that kind of has threads throughout our culture is respect, right? It's respect, it's understanding, it's gathering a team of people where you know that you don't have to know everything, that you have these key people within your team that you can rely on and trust to be able to take the philosophy of the company, use their skills and talents, and be able to translate that into creating the environment at the community level. I think that that really is a key component when you can respect people's professional backgrounds, their talents, and what they can contribute, and really give them the opportunity to be empowered to make decisions because ultimately you hired them for a reason. You can't
Yeah.
micromanage. You have to just trust your team, work with them and alongside them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Steve Jobs that said something along the lines of, "You hire smart people so that they can tell you what to do, not the other way around."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Empower your team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My mom
Very, very
says, my
cool.
mom likes to say, Rita, she hires people that are smarter than her. That's it. She loves
That's
to hire
awesome.
people that are smarter than her.
Very cool. So it's been a couple of years since the break of the pandemic, and everyone is very sick and talking about the pandemic. But we do have a question for you as an owner operator, and that is like, what are the major learnings that you received during the pandemic, and things that you maybe hadn't considered in the past that now you know in the back of your mind are always things that you might have to consider?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. It might be a little unique to us how I'm going to answer, just because this portfolio of communities that we're operating currently opened in the middle of the pandemic. So it's not that is a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? So we
Yeah.
are lucky enough that we didn't have operating communities during the height of the pandemic when globally there were these crises and our seniors were hit the hardest, and it was just, you saw in the news every day um how dire the situation was. And I really admire every single senior living operator for doing what they did, when they did it, and how they did it. For us, we opened with COVID protocols in place. So the communities, while we knew how we operated communities in the past, the communities that we opened at the time had to open from day one with those policies in place. And I think that really guided us long term to be able to implement them as permanent policies and procedures within our communities, because we didn't know any different. We didn't know any different,
Right.
but you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
just adopted that as a normal day-to-day part of operating, and it proved successful for us in terms of outcomes for residents and the lack of outbreaks and cases that we had.
That's amazing. Very cool. And good work on everybody on the Vantage Point team side for that. Very cool. Well, Kate, thank you so much. Is there anything that you would want to leave our audience with as a takeaway? Anything that you can add on, or anything that you feel like we maybe didn't talk about?
Um, the only thing that I would really add on to this is the as we're talking, the common theme that I've kind of adopted into my day to day as a leader within our organization is leading by example as much as possible, and leading with authenticity, and the idea that in order for our communities and our corporate teams to be as successful as possible, it's all about being authentic, collaborating, and working alongside of all of the key players within your organization. Because ultimately, you have the responsibility to residents, you have the responsibility to the team members who choose to work with you when they can work for anyone else. They're choosing to
Yeah.
work for you. And then you also have a responsibility to your capital partners. And creating a balance in that is the only way that communities are going to be successful long term. When one of those balances, when the balance becomes off kilter, is when crises really start to happen. So keeping a pulse on all three of those aspects, keeping them balanced, not skewing so far to the capital partners, that the resident quality of food and service lacks because you're pushing NOI, or you're not
Yeah.
attracting top talent for because you're trying to get the lowest wage that you can. It's really easy to lose track, and then that's when communities get into trouble. So I think that's the key thing that I've learned as we've been in this ramp up stage, is just keeping that balance as much as possible.
Kate, that was absolutely fantastic information. Thank you so much for joining Cup of Joe. Thank you to all of our viewers for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Citizen team here at citizen55.com. Thank you so much.